So here we are on the road. Uwe Boll
Yeah,
Raw. Gary, you moved in your new house and it looks like you still live in your car. So what's happening?
no, I'm actually at Kohl's trying to pick up an item for the house. Because we just moved in. I needed to buy like a new pressure cooker because the old one broke. A couple things broke when we moved. So I'm here when they first open because it's like $5 cheaper if you pick it up instead of getting it shipped. So
That's true. If it's like not too far away, right? I mean, if it's like 40 miles away, it's more expensive to drive with the car.
yeah, it's right down the street. I mean, it's been a really crazy month, honestly. Like let's see what has happened. So I was trying to sell my home. Well,
No.
I'm just gonna go through from the beginning really quick, just really abridged version. I lived in a community when I first moved to Florida with like a dysfunctional HOA. Now the HOA are the people that take everybody's money each month so they can mow the grass or like have the pool be kept up and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Now, when I moved into my old home, there was like the people were giving their money to an HOA that wasn't doing any of the work. So
Yeah.
they were embezzling the money. They had moved to another country even, and they were taking these people's money for about 10 years. Some people stopped paying it. Other people wanted to be in the good graces and kept paying it. But either way, the community was fucked up. And
Keep talking, keep
I
talking. Close the
yeah,
door.
I got to a place where it just got so out of control because I first moved there and the community was lawless. They were the kind of people who are low class, who like will dump trash everywhere, will like scream in the middle of the night, will like run around naked and shit. Like, and if you call the cops say it's an HOA issue. So, the HOA is not functional. So there was craziness there. When I moved in, with the help of my mother, who has a lot of skill because she was the head of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists and all this other stuff. She helped us get the HOA back. Not we're not the HOA. She helped us. We reformed it. We got them back on their feet. We got them a lawyer. And we got them like all the stuff approved by the county. And then when stuff started to they started to look at their records and they saw like, oh, these people never paid their HOA fees. So these people were getting their houses repossessed. And they blamed us because we helped them get on their feet. We are not the HOA, but because I did something nice for free, for
Yeah.
that community, the people, the moment that they're told they can't do something like your kids can't play in front of this person's house. I got harassed for about 7 or 8 months. I had them threaten to hurt me and my mother. Like, and then they would lie and they would make up stuff that I never said. And I had all this shit on video. They tried to make it look like he's taking pictures of the children. They made up all sorts of ridiculous shit. And this was all going on while these people's houses were being repossessed. They were angry and they wanted someone to blame. So I had a lot of fucking people harassing me for a long fucking time. And then I got married, and the weight of all this on my relationship was very hard. So quick, so early in the relationship that I made the decision really quick to move to get away from these fucking lunatics. I mean, this is what makes me lean more towards Trump's side is the fact that there really is there really is fucking idiots out there who will fucking piss in their backyard, take a shit where they eat. They don't fucking care about the community. They don't care about what's right. They don't care about each other or their neighbor. They only care about themselves. Like it's bullshit. These we were doing them a favor. So I got the fuck out. And then the new property management tried to hold us hostage. We almost did not sell the house because we ended up having to sell it to Open Door. We had to sell it to a company because we were so desperate. I took $100,000 hit because of that. $100,000. So the house is worth
You told me the
275.
other buyers just couldn't pay.
No, no,
The
we almost sold. Yeah, we went through it 3 times. There was a buyer, the first buyer, everything almost went through, and then suddenly they were denied. And then we were like, okay, we'll try it again. Then the next buyer, it got right to closing day, and that's not fucking normal. Normally, you would know like right up front, this person's not qualified, and you'd move on. Their loan officer wasn't doing his job. He's a fucking lunatic. He's an idiot. He fucking we found out the day before, and they found out the night before. We had our entire house in boxes packed up, and we were ready to move into this new house. And we had already signed the contract for the new house that we had to move in within 30 days, or we would lose the money that we put down on the house, and we would lose the house itself. So now we're trapped. Now we're stuck in this thing where we have to sell the house in 30 days, or we lose this other house and the money. Um, and it's all because of this guy's loan officer. So now we were like, oh fuck, we're desperate, and we don't want people to know we're desperate. We sell it to Open Door. They offer us $100,000 less than what it's worth. I take it. I took it because you know what? It's the exact same amount I bought the house for, so I'm not taking a loss. And really,
Yeah.
fuck these people. I did them a favor. They want to fuck with me, then good luck. Good luck with your community, because I say within a year that community is going to be shit worse than before. And my new community is
There is,
beautiful, man.
I think there is like the old thing, like no good deed stays unpunished is true, right? I went through it a lot of times. But at the same time, also desperation makes people getting ugly, right? Desperation sometimes makes people turning into assholes and liars. I had that too in my life, right? So,
Well, look at that
and
guy who took the money from you, the guy who said, I need to borrow money from you for some good cause, and then he just disappeared.
yes, that's the thing. Like I had it on a bigger scale with investment scams and stuff like this, or promising something I paid 100% back, whatever, that never came back. Or the smaller scale where money got like in trust, where you say, okay, you do this with it, I'm okay with it, and then they never did it and just kept it. Like stuff like this. You have that also all the time. Then you have people, they, of course, in the restaurant business, they skim you over tips, they skim you over like free drinks, stealing, etc. So
Yeah,
it's a lot.
you had that problem with the manager, right? At that bar who was like taking
Yeah,
money or something.
he cleaned out the safe and said that was the money we owed him for working 2 weeks and then just disappearing on us, right? So I mean that's yeah, but in hospitality, I think you experience more even as in film, to be honest. I think film is a little more skilled workers as you have in hospitality when it comes to like just like waiters and stuff. And so you're not getting so easy skimmed. I think in hospitality also, the reality is they know they're getting another job.
Yeah.
Everybody needs dishwasher, whatever, line cooks, everybody needs it. So they know your reputation will not stop others on hiring you. In film, it's different. If you have a reputation, whatever, that you are an electrician who constantly steals light bulbs or something, that goes around and you're not getting hired again. So it's a little like you can fall higher from the film set. I just read before we started here that the US job thing went high up, like so more jobs getting created, but in film it goes way down, and it's exactly the situation in film. Like when you see all the statistics, they overspent and they overproduced, and now comes this kind of normalization. You had in COVID and then the strikes, two situations where nothing happened at all. And then it was an explosion of productions based on this ditch that nobody was shooting. And so everybody gets used to this kind of, oh, we're getting hired left and right and we can produce and whatever, and they build a lot of film studios based on this. Robert De Niro just finished in Manhattan a film studio, like stages, and you feel like maybe they all started doing this during COVID, and now the stuff is built, and now they have nothing to film anymore. So it's like my personal identification. Think about Manhattan alone. In Manhattan, if you have in one of the roads, you have a big film studio. The other problems coming, logistic, parking, this kind of stuff. Like, when you have like the hairdresser comes in the morning, but you don't have a parking spot for her. So she will spend $100 to park that day somewhere, so, or she gets a ticket, or she just cannot come with a car. But then she has to carry all her shit, like that's the thing. I think in Manhattan I mean, all the studios in New York normally are not in Manhattan. And
Yeah.
it's really, besides the TV studios where they do live programming, but the
Yeah,
Robert
the
De Niro
only
thing,
the only film studio that used to be in Midtown was Troma, and then they sold the property for like millions of dollars. They bought it for nothing back in the 70s, and now that property is just too valuable. They got rid of it. They operate out of Brooklyn now, I think. So,
yeah, I mean the real estate alone, right? That was a surprising article I read, because before it was always that Robert De Niro, in a way, lost so much with the Tribella, like the
yeah.
film festival and everything, right? And then that he actually is in $1 billion investment in with two or three other people in film studios. That was a big surprise. So, what do you think about Vance Waltz? The talk.
I've been so busy that I actually, this is like the first one. I haven't been able to read the news that much. I've read a couple things about it, but I can't comment on that too extensively because I didn't watch it. By now, I assume you watched the Trump debate, right?
Yeah, the Trump debate with Harris.
Yeah, you watched that
Yeah,
one
yeah,
though,
no, no.
right?
Now I watched it, and I watched Vance Awards too.
Well, what do you
And
think? What did you tell me what you think? Because I have to watch it still.
no, I think that Harris won against Trump. You would, like, if you score it, you would say 5-3 for Harris, right? So, and then you do Vance Waltz, you would say 5-4 for Vance. I think Vance had his shit together, and he did the one good thing. What also Melania Trump comes up today. She's pro-abortion, she said, right? So Melania Trump, and Vance uh, played it like we always said. We don't do anything about it. That individual states decide, and US is diverse. So if you don't like where you live, where you cannot have an abortion, go somewhere where you can have an abortion. So it's basically that was very clever, because of course the hard stance, especially Vance has a very hard stance on abortion. His personal opinion is should be not allowed. But I think that's the thing they settled on, because they would lose too many voters if
You
they
know,
if
you have to think though, a lot of those people who get knocked up are from houses who haven't, educated their children about sexual education, and then they're pregnant really young or whatever, and they can't afford to like move to another state, or their job is in a certain place, or they're not willing to uproot their lives. And I understand that they could move somewhere else. Maybe people who are more fortunate, who have more money, could do that, but I don't know. I just see it very extreme in that way. I see the poor people's vision because I was once one of those poor people long time ago. But like, yeah, I feel for them because they're stuck and they can't leave. And then once they have that kid, their life is fucking over. Any dreams of being a lawyer, being the president, being an astronaut, that's fucking gone.
no, I totally understand. They're like poor people. They cannot leave the state. They're fucked when they get the baby, and that it's unfair for them. And we will see how it all plays out. But overall, it was very, in a way, civilized. The debate. They were not like flipping completely out on each other, similar to
Yeah.
what Pence did when he was the vice president, right? So they were more the people of reasoning, and that they have to reach over the aisle and have to work together, blah, blah, blah. Uh,
You know
it's
what my problem is with fucking these people? Like, you talk about Trump and Pence. I say Pence is not a bad person. You know why? Because he's got class. I don't agree with his policies. I don't agree with his politics. He may not even be a good person. I may not like him as a person, but he's got class and he's got charisma. Trump only has charisma. He has no class. And that's very evident in his debate with Harris, because there was so many points where he should have gotten the cue, because she's like, I want to inspire the people and not demonize them through fear. And I understand what she's trying to say. And Trump didn't get it. And he just doubled down on the terror. This is going to happen. Your lives are going to be ruined. He should have changed course and been more uplifting, been more spiritual or in connection with his audience. Instead, he was going to the same old spiel, the same thing that we've heard for years now. And I think people are tired of hearing it. I think he needs a new playbook. The people that he's surrounded himself with are not giving him fresh ideas, and he's going to lose because of this. Like if he had someone like me, for example, like I'm like in the middle. I'm just looking at it from a middle point. I think they're fucking up from a PR perspective. I think they're fucking up with the message they're trying to give, and I think he's going to lose because of that. So
Yeah, I know, but look, the Ukraine situation is not getting better. The Gaza situation gets completely out of control. The whole Israel is in a full-on war with 3 countries right now. And
dude, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh,
yes, but Trump has this one asset, or even if it's completely BS, but he comes across confident and tells the people, I solve it all, no problem. With me, no more wars, blah, blah, blah. So, and the thing is, in times of like uncertainty, people want that, right? People want this kind of firm, like, if you vote for me, I will finish all that wars. If you vote for Harris, all that wars will endlessly go on and we will pay for it. That's the thing. And that it's not wrong, right? We all know that Harris is not totally pro-Israel. That's the one thing. And that she will basically juggle around and pay here and there, similar to the German government. We pay both sides in a way. And the same with the Ukraine thing is that I think there I trust Trump more that he actually can finish it. I think the Israel situation, I think nobody can finish this situation. It will go on forever. The question is only on what level. You know, you don't want to live in Israel anymore if you have bomb alarm every 12 hours and actually bombs coming. So that's the thing. It's like, you know, like in earlier years, you had years and years in Israel where you had a few terror attacks a year where 5 people died each, but that was it. And now they have like a total uncertainty and it's unsafe. And people also leave Israel. Everybody who has a double passport is leaving, you know, like Quentin Tarantino
oh
lives in,
yeah.
but not anymore. Now he's back in LA, you know, like stuff like this. That happens, and it will hurt the economy from Israel, and also the Iron Dome, where they shoot all the rockets down with, is running out of ammunition. I read an article. It's like there are like 1,000 rockets away from being empty, and then they cannot restuff it so fast, and then the rockets actually landing and bombing in Israel the same way as the Israel bombs landing in Beirut and whatever. They have nothing like an Iron Dome. They have to swallow up the bombardment from Israel. And it's, you know, it's this kind of, I always answer John Cusack on Twitter, right? He's totally pro-Gaza and Palestina, and for him, all the Israelis are gangsters. And he said, so it's like, your neighbor comes and kills your daughter. So you kill the killer, but then you go to his house, you kill his parents and the guests of the parents, and then you go in the street and you kill the street because of the guy killed your daughter. That is how he says the Israelis react to the Gaza terror attack from October 7 or October 7 or 9, whatever. So, and I answered him, I said, yeah, but the Israelis know that the guests and the street are supporters of the terrorists and cheer them on and hide them in their basement. And that's the reason that Israel is not stopping it, right? So, with other words, it's not so easy how John Cusack and all that, like Arab lovers in a way, want to play give Israel the black card and say, look, you fuckers, you totally overdo it, you know,
You know,
and yeah, and
I
it's
was
just
trying to explain to my mom, my wife. I was trying to explain to my wife, sorry, not my mom.
yeah,
I
your
was trying
mom.
to explain. Yeah, my mom's here too. She's visiting. That's why I said it. But
Uh,
my wife was like, "Why are they bombing hospitals in Israel?" She was all upset about this, and I was trying to explain to her, and it has to do with what you're saying. It's like they were hiding these people out in these underground networks that were in the hospital. Yeah, it sucks that there's innocent people there, but these are the rules of engagement that they've chosen. They've chosen to hide in places where there's kids because they're fuckers. And what other way are
yeah.
you going to get them out? You know?
Exactly. That's the problem, right? So you cannot, let's say you have a house where you think there's a tunnel, where you think there's a hostage, where you think there are terrorists. So you cannot, let's say, let 100 Israeli soldiers die taking that house room by room, right? So of course you come with the helicopter and you shoot 2 rockets in. After you said half an hour before, please come out of the house and walk away with your hands over your head, because that is what they do, right? It's like in Gaza was it the case. Now in Lebanon, and it's different. Lebanon, they bomb it, right? So, but they say they bomb only strategic, whatever, Hezbollah targets. But you cannot afford to do this at Gaza. That's the reason so many civilians died at Gaza, because they were not coming out of the house. They were not moving away. And this, I think, both out of 2 reasons. A, they get blackmailed to stay. Like the Hamas told them, if you leave, we shoot you, right? So now you're in your house with your kids and you are like a human shield, you know?
Yeah.
So and I mean, it was a lose-lose situation. A lot of innocent people died, 100%. But that's the
So
war.
like you're fucked if you do, you're fucked if you don't.
Yes, because when you just walk away and let's say you come out of the house, you pass the Israeli soldiers, now they're getting in and killing a few people, you have a target on your back. If you don't leave Gaza the same day, they maybe get you and kill you. So, and that's it's really like a lose-lose situation. And what I think we both always said, dying is always very bad. Like when people die, the biggest goal should be to stop the dying, and then to figure out justice, to figure out who lives where's the border, whatever, right? And I liked, to be honest, I liked how Trump handled Zelensky. I mean, Zelensky came to the US and said, I present the plan to victory. And then his plan to victory was nothing else as what he's doing since 2.5 years, give me weapons and money. So, and it's this kind of like, okay, but what is the exact way to victory? Because this is basically, you come here now, you want more money or more weapons. What a big surprise. For this, you don't need to have a speech in front of the UN. And he said the victory is we're getting so much weapons that we bomb Russia, and then the Russians will bend over, move the troops out of the Ukraine, and then we get a peace talk going. That is so, let's say, irrational, unlogic, that will not happen. And I think Trump was the only person he talked to in North America who told him, like, that plan is not working. It will not succeed, because before Putin removes his troops, he will completely bomb the fucking shit out of you guys in Kiev and everywhere, right? Right now, Putin is actually holding back. A lot of times he's not bombing civilians. He's not like bombing a lot. Like when you have in Ukraine, you have maybe 50 civilists getting killed a month by bombs, right? 50, like nothing. Yeah. So it's not like he on purpose bombs the shit out of Kiev or something, like the main city. It's not doing it. So I think Putin has an interest to stop the war and to negotiate. But what he wants is no conditions. Means like, if we want to settle this, we have to get based on the status quo right now on the negotiating table. The status quo right now is I own the south of the Ukraine. That is what he will claim. He said there are a lot of Russians living there. I have it. I keep it. That's the status quo. And I think still, if this is injustice, 100% is that injustice, but you still need to sit down and talk, because
Yeah,
you
do you
don't want
know
the
it's not a
population.
perfect world, but something needs to be done, right?
Yes, look, today I listened to that Oberst, like the captain guy from the Austrian forces. who's looking deep into the war. He did another video where he describes what's going on. So 70% of the real soldiers of Ukraine are dead. 70
Oh my
dead.
goodness.
So, and he said now they fill it up, similar to what in the World War happened, to just recruits, right? So you recruit people like, oh, you're 20, we make you a soldier, right? And he said the problem, of course, was this kind of cannon fodder, what we had in the Vietnam War, what we had, like a lot of things happened in the Second World War. They were not really like professionals as soldiers, right? They got a gun, they got like training for 2 months, and they were bombed at the Normandy. So, and that what's happening, he said, is this: when you're not used to be in a battle or whatever, of course you have very fast, everybody totally traumatized. They basically are all under shock serving
Yeah, it's
then.
not Call of Duty. It's not a video game. I think that the
Exactly.
real war, yeah, it's
Yeah.
much worse than you think from TV or
Yeah.
movies.
Yes, you get shocked by explosions, the noise, the sirens, the non-sleeping, and they are in trenches, right? It's like an old-fashioned war in Ukraine. It's like here a barricade, and there it's like Private Ryan when they move into that city. Stuff like this is happening there, and he said that's the big problem now. Now you have not enough people anymore who are in control of the younger, unexperienced soldiers. If you have a lot of times where they are all under themselves fighting.
Yeah,
And
there's no like seasoned general who's been there through 3 wars who knows this shit. They're all
yes,
like
yeah,
wet behind the ears.
and
Yeah.
yes, and this is, and he said, like, from the experienced position, it's you need this kind of normally 50-50 situation where you have the more older seasoned guys who were in various battles or who at least know what the fuck they're doing. They calm everybody down. They bring like this kind of confidence to the troops that it's not the end of the world. We will get the deal done. That goes away, and then you have like people deserting, people losing their shit, people shooting their own people by accident, stuff like this. So with other words, that guy who really follows the war, I think, better as everybody else on the planet, um, he says that it's going very bad for the Ukraine. And the Russians, of course, have this asset. They move people in and out. You go on holidays in between. You go home in between. The Russian soldiers, they die. More Russian soldiers die as Ukrainian soldiers. But the Russians have way more people, way more weapons,
Oh.
way more support, and they're getting back. They're getting like they don't stay for 6 months in the trenches. The Ukrainians, they stay till they're dead or wounded.
I just put two and two together and I understand now what you just said. I understand what Putin is trying to do. And I'll just say it right off the top of my head. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. But you're right. There's more people on the Russian side. There's more expendable people that could potentially be troops. Whereas on the Ukrainian side, there's less and less people. They're all dying, and it'll only take time. 6 months, a year. It's happening slower because of the weapons that the U.S. is giving, but
Yeah.
eventually they will run out of people. They will only
Yes.
have inexperienced the kids and people who cannot fight, and they will be forced to negotiate or to submit. It's only logic. That's logical. Because Russia has been preparing for this. Why is their economy not collapsed? They prepared for this for a long fucking time. So
Yeah.
they're ready to go on for 10 years if they have to, and Putin knows it. So this is actually pretty smart. I mean, I'm not saying he's a great person, he's the Jesus or something. I'm just saying tactically, which is what Trump, I believe, was trying to say, that tactically he is a very smart man. And it can be hard to put two and two together or see the forest from the trees when you don't see all of the moving pieces. And I think that's the problem, is that the news media only presents one part of each moving piece, that it's really hard to come up with the full picture. So some people like my wife are like, they're bombing houses in, that's not having nothing to do with Russia, but like she only sees what they give you. She only sees that one piece when there's a bigger picture. Same thing with Russia. There's a bigger picture. You know what I mean? And this is actually really interesting that we had this
Yeah,
conversation.
because the thing is also like there is a, let's say, a room for negotiation. If Putin thinks they are down to the last 5%, right, he will not settle anymore. Right? Because I think what we know is that Putin has no empathy and is an ice cold killer. That is what
Oh
he
yeah.
is, right? So
Yeah, of course.
it means also for Trump, when Trump says, I settle that before I even be president, I mean, as soon as I'm elected, I will settle that. I think Trump says that not because only because he said, I'm the biggest, I'm the best, I can settle everything. That's only the advertising what he's doing. But he knows also that he's running out of time, because even Donald Trump cannot settle the war anymore if Putin thinks one more month and they're done. Like they're running away and I just march straight to Kiev. So that's the problem. You cannot negotiate with somebody who knows now the opponent is done. And that's the problem. And I think that's also like, I mean, all my friends, most of them support the Ukraine until the death, and they say we have to give them more weapons and blah, blah, blah. But when you really just listen to this like military experts who count the ammunition, who count the tanks, who really see what's going on, then you get a totally different feeling for that war. And I do that now since 2 years. And for example, the guy said also in his report today that the artillery ammunition, because they don't have an air force, right? They have no real airplanes fighting against the Russian airplanes. So what they do is when they can shoot airplanes and they can shoot artillery into the other trenches, basically, and they can have drones. They have drones that fly and bomb the shit out of things, but they don't have really an air force. They cannot do any more. But the Russians have air force and drones and so on. And he said the American production of that shells of the last 10 years went completely to the Ukraine in the last 2 years. So that is also in America. I never heard anybody saying this, right?
Well, there's big money to be made in the manufacture of these weapons. You know that. And some of these people who are in the Senate and shit, they own pieces of these companies, the Republicans. So fuck, I'm not surprised.
No,
You
but
know?
see, you're 100% right what you say. Of course, they're making money with it because they don't send a lot of money. They send weapons and ammunition, and then they have to buy it. So the money comes into Boeing, whatever, like all that manufacturer of ammunition. But the other part of what he said is very concerning, that he said they used in 2 years in this one war 10 years of the production from the US. That means in retrospective that the US cannot even make enough ammunition for that one war in the Ukraine to shell it out, to really shoot, right? So that shows that we all have no capacity, and that we cannot support the Ukraine forever based on nothing is left. When you say today, he said also, when you say today, build a tank like that US tanks or the Leopard from Germany, they're the best two tanks in the world. So if you say today, we need 100 tanks, right? He said it takes 1.7 years to get that 100 tanks. So it means, he said, we're running out of all of this based on that war. So it's not like, I mean, and he said the US cannot give all the weapons to the Ukraine, that have no more weapons left at all, and the EU also not. That would be completely absurd. Then North Korea can move into the US or China because they say, look, we just found out they gave it all to the Ukraine. So, I mean, it's absurd. The whole situation is absurd, and it cries for a settlement on all sides. But from what I see with Harris, what I see from the German government is an arrogance to Putin, like, we show you that we outlast you. We will support the Ukraine forever. And what they don't put in account is that Ukraine, you can deliver weapons, but A, we don't have the capacity to endless deliver weapons. But B, we cannot make Ukrainians. If we don't fight ourselves with our soldiers, then, and what we never will do, because in World War III, is the Ukrainians will run out of people driving a tank, like stuff like this. And you cannot learn to drive a tank properly, for example, or fly a helicopter and shoot rockets from a helicopter because you're a recruit with 2 months ever holding a gun. That is where that 30% people are left only. 30% people are left who can all do this shit, who know where north is and south. I mean, people there on the front lines would be you and me. Right? Not like being a journalist in Kiev. Now you get a uniform on, a helmet, you run around for 4 weeks, shoot some AK-47s, and then they put you in the front lines. Like, we would have no tactical knowledge.
I would have no fucking idea what I was doing.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's almost insane. It's insane that they don't push a peace conference faster forward now.
I just wanted to say out loud, I think I understand what you and this show in general represents. This show is like a realist show. Like, we're looking at logic and realistic goals. Like, not everything is a pretty picture, but this is reality, and you have to kind of take the good with the bad. Whereas, like you say with Harris, even though I want her to win, she's more of a concept, more conceptual. Like, it's a dream, it's a vision of this perfect future. But in this world where they're like those articles that I send you of these fucking lunatics trying to kill each other, it's an imperfect world. It's a fucked up world, and we can't be. I mean, we can dare to dream about any number of things, but we have to face the real problems that we have here right now head on, without sugarcoating it, because it has to be politically correct, or whatever, whatever prerequisite there is that's holding her back from anything legitimate, any kind of policy change. I think she needs to get that dreamer vision of everyone's going to be happy, we're going to live in the matrix where everyone gets good things. You know what I mean? Because what happened in the matrix, when the matrix was perfect, everybody started committing suicide because they couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? I'm just using that as an example. It's an imperfect world. It is what it is. Putin, for example, what he's doing is wrong, like what you said. But the realistic approach, as opposed to the conceptual approach, is that it isn't worth being conceptual in the face of war, because lives hang in the balance. And if you are realistic and you deal with what we've got right now, you can solve the issue and save those lives. Whereas if you are conceptual about it, it's not weighted in the ground, it's not grounded, and you're really playing with these people's lives. You're really playing with the lives of all these people, essentially, whether they be soldiers or people who are living there. People are going to die based on this indecision of not being willing to negotiate or talk. And it's a shame, because it's like everybody is so caught up in their opinion. Same thing in the United States with Democrats versus Republicans, people pro or against Ukraine or whatever. It's a shame that people are so caught up in their own opinions that they aren't willing to take a step back and look what's best for the greater good. Look what's best to solve the situation, as opposed to in everything online, Trump, everybody wants to get back at each other. Ukraine and Russia, everybody's this constant sway of let's teach them a lesson because this is who we are. I understand being proud, but let's fucking think of the people who are caught in the balance, the animals that are caught in the balance, the world that they are destroying, the nature that is probably destroyed from the effects of this war. That let's just fucking look on a more grounded scale, and I think things would actually get done.
Fires. I think we said that before, the explosions and fires and all the war in Ukraine, the pollution, the CO2 came out of it is 8 times higher as Europe's pollution CO2 output is normally. So the same with the wildfires in Canada, but they are like very tough to control. So that means like, we're fighting about like no more fuel different cars and all that stuff. And at the same time, we're making horrible mistakes who accelerate global warming, for example. And I think that what you said is important to say here, because we don't have millions and millions of followers. And everybody who listens to us should send us out to everybody, and we should have 10 or 100 more, like 100 times more followers within a year, because I'm watching Joe Rogan, I watch Bill Maher, I watch a lot of podcasts from these high-end super paid people. But I think that what we do here is we struggle for truth together, and we are not like officially a party person. It's like, and we are fact driven, problem by problem driven, and that maybe doesn't make us heroes, and maybe make us definitely not stars, because when you see who is a media star in America, they're always very much for one side. You can be Tucker Carlson and you're a mega star and you make tons of money, or you are Rachel Maddows and you're a media star. But there are the opposites. They cater the opposite people. We cater nobody. We cater nothing else as the facts and the truth. And
Yeah, we're for the people, man. We're for the people, we have nobody funding us. We have no sponsorship or
yes,
anything. And
yeah,
I don't want to be famous. A lot of people go out there saying, "Oh, I've got Uwe Boll. Now is my big break. I'm going to use him to get famous." I've been doing this for fucking so long, and I've been trying to
yeah.
hide it because I was like, I don't know, shy. I don't fucking know, but
No, but
I,
I
I'm
think
here
it's
now and I
important
can
that,
be honest. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I'm also not like above you or anything. It's like you live in the US, you see things right there. I live in Europe, see things like here, and we do this as partners, completely even. Only because I have more movie credits, that means nothing. So, but I think
But that's
it's
the way that idiots out there look at it. A lot of people don't look at you like a human being. They look at you like a way to get famous or some stupid shit like that. And it's bullshit. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's a fake friendship, fake relationship. And that's the power behind this show, is that we are actually friends. We actually communicate, we care about each other. And I think a lot of people who make these shows don't give two fucks about who they record with, like they only care about stupid shit, like how they look, how cool they look, what girls they can fuck. I'm way beyond that, and so are you. And it makes it a better show.
Exactly. That's the reason everybody who listened today should not only like us, but also tell his friends and family and everybody in their social networks. Uwe Boll 7 is the Twitter, for example, Uwe Boll Films on Instagram. But follow us, follow Uwe Boll Raw, follow us on YouTube, follow us there, so that more people can listen for the world of reasoning, the word of reasoning, and the word of, but sometimes it's very uncomfortable to say things like this, but I think it's very important, because a lot of people who everybody's listening to, including us, are just paid for to say what they say. And they would lose all their money and all their sponsoring the moment they would turn. They would have a different opinion about something. And that's a big mistake. That is very bad
Yeah.
in the news media, in the newspapers, and so on, what's around us like this.
And with all the connection and all the cancel culture, people are afraid to be honest because they're afraid of getting fired from their job. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not really afraid of any of that shit. So it's all good. But yeah, usually, like, if you were to go out and say, I support Russia, you would get fired from your job. I'm not even
absolutely.
kidding. It's bullshit.
Absolutely. You get prosecuted. Everybody thinks you're a Russian spy right away, only because you say, I don't want that I want that the killing stops. So, oh my God, how could he ever say this? And yeah, so we have to finish up, because I have a Zoom with an AI company who, with AI, can basically, let's say you have a script or a film idea, and they say, when the script gets checked out by the AI, and they tell you exactly the buyers who could be interested in 100 territories to buy exactly that idea. And I think that is
What?
would be a cool thing, right? If you shoot a film or you want to shoot a film, and you could get addresses of possible film distribution companies in Brazil, in Argentina, whatever, they would say, oh, that is what we're looking for. So they have it all.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to Brazil. There we go.
I give a shit. My cameraman Matthias said always, Uwe, instead of doing this kind of thrillers and action, whatever, we should do films about female beach volleyball teams in Brazil. Yeah, because as you know how they are dressed, that is what he wants to see. Okay, let's finish it up. Go and buy
Dude,
your
awesome.
your pot, basically. Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes. Everybody have a great day. Please follow us on Twitter and tell your friends like Uwe said, and we'll see you next time, okay?